How would your colleagues describe you in 3 words?
Sexy, mysterious and dangerous.
That's the best answer we've ever had. Alex Best, founder of Wonderhood.
Yes.
Thanks so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Nice to have you on the sofa. What does after work mean to you?
It means, at the moment, relieving my wife from, she's on maternity leave. So it's definitely relieving her from the baby, helping out with the kids as soon as we get home, and really just giving her a break.
You and your co-founders,
Yes.
I found out from you the other day, you didn't choose each other as such. So can you tell me the story?
It was very much of a bringing a boy band together by David Abraham, who was had the original idea for Wonderhood, which was bringing together an advertising agency and a TV production company. And he basically handpicked us all and then threw us together. So
No auditions.
No auditions. A series of meetings. So the first one was me and Jess got together, and then when me and Jess got together, then we met Aidan, and then it was really about shared values, shared ambitions, and I guess we'd all made really good work. We'd all made really great creative work. We all sung from the same hymn sheet. It was tough. It was really tough, I think, for 6 months, because you just don't know people's working styles. So it took us a while to get to know each other, and especially with new business, it's all about chemistry. It is so intense, our job, especially with new business and pitches like that. You're having to work late. You're putting a lot of pressure on each other, and if you don't have the same shared values, same shared ambition, it must be really, really tough. And I think if you look at even a management team being put together separately is quite hard to know that it will definitely work.
You and I chatted last week about creatives being the focal point of all agencies. What did you mean by that?
I've got a good story, which is about Robert Senior, who was one of the founders of Fallon London. And he had this great story about the Rolling Stones, which was Mick Jagger basically worked out that the merchandise sales went up when Keith Richards was having a great gig. So Keith Richards is playing his heart out, merchandise sales are up 30-40%. So basically he decided, I'm just going to make Keith be brilliant. And Robert Senior was very much as that's how you should think about yourself as an account handler, which is how can you set the stage for the creatives to be brilliant? And I always love that story because I think he's absolutely right. I mean, that is our job, and we're not serving them, but we are creating the environment for the creatives to produce the very best work.
I remember in the good olden days of advertising, I used to be shit scared of going into my creative director's offices.
Yeah.
I'd have to seriously rile myself up to get in there. And then you'd you're already scared, open it, and they'd be like, what the fuck do you mean?
Yeah.
And I'd just be so terrified. So I'm glad those days are over.
Well, I always had a good tip for account handlers on that, which was go and talk to the creatives and get them to show you their book. Because what that does is it immediately says you're interested in creative work and you're interested in them. And I think it's a really good way to get to know the teams, get to know the work, and have a cup of tea, get them to show you work. You understand them, you understand how they think, and it's a really good...
That's really good advice.
Really good tip.
You've said culture is the independent agency's superpower.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd add stability as the network agency's superpower. And I'm talking in terms of talent acquisition and retention.
Yeah.
So how do you marry the two when it comes to talent?
I think there's a massive difference between being a startup in the first year to Wonderhood now being an independent agency. And, I could argue that with all the mergers of the holding companies, how stable are these agency brands at the moment? Probably not that stable. But when we first started Wonderhood, it is blooming hard to attract talent. And
oh, really?
Because we weren't big names and we hadn't had big profiles in campaigns. So you're trying to attract talent, and in the belief of, Wonderhood, it was the model, and then the people, and spending time with them and trying to reassure them that, we've got a vision. These are our values. This is what we believe in. Here's some work I've made. If you want really great talent, they could go to Adam and Eve or Mother. It's a tough call for someone to risk it. So I think it's definitely first 2 or 3 years, getting the very best talent is hard. But you've just really got to persuade them, talk about the vision, especially when you haven't made any work yet. Or certainly in Wonderhood's case, we didn't have any clients when we started for the first 3 or 4 months. So it's like, come and join us.
So I don't know what you'll be working on, but just take a leap.
Yeah.
Right, Besties Book Club.
Yeah.
Tell me about it.
I read a lot, listen to a lot of audiobooks, and I get so much value out of reading books as a leader. And I think, there's an expression, leaders are readers, and I genuinely think as a leader you can get so much knowledge and through other people's experience, through biographies and things like that, not necessarily standard leadership books, because and I do think biographies are particularly great on that level, just to understand how people think and different situations. But I read all sorts of topics.
So as a tribute to Besties Book Club, I have bought you 3 books.
Thank you.
That I'm hoping you haven't read, but you might have done. And full disclosure, I had to blow the dust off these from when I grabbed them from the bookshelf. Shoe Dog, one of my favourite books, purely because I have such a vested interest in Nike from my time at Wydens. And also I just feel such a loyalty for this brand.
Yeah.
Because all the heritage, but also working on projects.
Yeah, no Adidas at Wydens.
No Adidas. I actually got told off for wearing New Balance shoes in my first week.
Yeah.
But even 10 years later, I can't really buy an Adidas jumper. I find it quite difficult to where I feel like I'm being very disloyal. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I've read that one, but it's very good.
Daisy May Cooper's book, because I find her hilarious. And I also wanted something random for you that you might not have read.
Haven't read that.
So I like people who make me laugh very, very much. I like that she put that picture on the front cover and this one on the back. And I have this weird thing where I don't really laugh out loud in books and films and TV shows. This actually made me laugh out loud.
Very good. Thank you.
And then the third one is just by one of my friends, Natasha Lunn, Conversations on Love. She used to be in advertising and went on to be a very successful journalist and author.
Was she creative?
She was not. She was an account person for all her stints. So this one I very much enjoyed.
Fantastic.
There's another.
Thank you.
2 out of 3.
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you.
I'm very happy with that. What's your biggest professional mistake?
Joining an agency for title and money rather than what I believed in.
That is excellent advice because, we've all been there where we're like, you're going to pay me how much?
Yeah. It wasn't by any stretch bad, but I think it didn't fill my heart with joy.
Okay.
Where a lot of jobs where I've really moved for the work and, and the creative, that has done.
Well, in this industry, it's very hard just to plod along for the paycheck. So I think we always tell our candidates, choose something you're going to feel passionate about because you came into this industry for that, to do some of the work of your life.
Yeah, I think you as well, when you get more senior, you sort of think, well, maybe I should be more businessy or more, especially as an account handler, more sort of, corporate and more of a businessman than, about the creative. But I think you can do that, but I don't think you enjoy it. And if you want to be more businessy and more commercial, there's better industries to do that, and you'll make a lot more money than you will at an ad agency. Yeah.
What's the best piece of advice you could give someone about to start their career in advertising?
Really, really love the creative work. I think you've got to really love ideas and creative work. If you do, you'll find it such a fulfilling career. If you don't, I'd do something else.
Finish the sentence. If I wasn't in advertising, I would be a
copywriter.
Really?
I love advertising, and some people, my mates, think I'm really sad that they're like, you've always loved your job, it's so weird. It's just something that's built into my DNA, and I really don't see me doing anything else.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
And
my
thank
pleasure.
you for sharing.
I hope it was okay.
I think it was fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Some really interesting answers.
Anastasia's going to kill me about sexing those things.
No, she's not.
Yes, she is.